Hey, what's up, YouTube? Goratha here. So today I'm going to talk about the Rolling Magma Saboteur from 3.26. This is what I played last league, and a lot of people have been asking me whether or not this is going to be viable this league. And I figured I'd make a quick video. Not going to go over everything. I made the build guide I made last league is completely up to date still. This video is going over the few changes that have been made. Some of them are pretty relevant, so I figured a video was worth it. But overall, I would say the character is going to be very strong as a league starter. Loads of damage. A bit squishy early on, but I played an SF hardcore to 100, so it's completely fine. As long as you, early on, it is a little bit like just don't get hit type of thing. Later on, it gets super tanky with the different setups. Yeah, I think it's going to be a great league starter. It's going to be pretty off meta, I would say. A lot of people are going to play Wanders this league, so we should see this build being pretty strong and the gear being really cheap as well. So if you're interested in something like that, this is going to be a really good build. So, first off, Mercenaries are being removed. This has a couple of implications that are pretty impactful for the character. So, I mean, obviously everyone is getting affected by Mercenaries getting removed. There's a lot of really OP things that you could use with Mercenaries. This character specifically, though, Combs Binding was really nice for early Fizz mitigation. This character generally doesn't really have a high Fizz max set, so Combs Binding helps a lot with that. Spreading fire or Fizz damage into fire makes a lot of sense when you have no Fizz mitigation because you have high fire res. So we're losing this. It's unfortunate. And we're also losing Shaper's Seed. Shaper's Seed gave a lot of mana regen and life regen. This is also really nice and it was really cheap last league. Without Shaper's Seed, you probably will have to run Eldritch Battery like really early on. Mana is a bit of an issue on this character. I had to take the life cost mastery and I also went for double minus mana costs. So that's something to consider. I think it'll be fine. If you have massive issues, though, EB is only 2 points away. That'll completely solve that problem. It is preferable, though, to not have EB because you lose a lot of defenses that way. That'll be a nice, easy solution early on if you have issues. The other thing they are removing is the Mercenary Chain mod, which could spawn on gloves on Mercenaries. This is a pretty big damage boost. I didn't really have it on my character until super endgame, though, so it's not like you need it to make the character work. Definitely a bit of a nerf to the character, though. You can make up for it with Temple Fire Damage Gloves. I don't have them in the PvP, but Temple Gloves spawn with like 60, 80 flat fire damage to ignited enemies, and that'll be a pretty decent replacement. Not too big of a deal, but yeah, slight nerf. They're adding a lot, though. So, Breach Grafts are being added. There's potentially a couple strong ones. They haven't really showed everything off. A lot of them seem like they do a lot of damage on their own. There seems to be a couple buff ones, though. They showed off like a lucky damage on ground type of thing. That might be pretty good for the character. Sort of an unknown right now. Not too much to talk about. We'll have to play it by ear, basically. See what happens with it. Definitely going to be something useful, though, I'm sure. I wanted to talk about Archon's Tools. Archon's Tools is a belt that was added last league. This belt is insane for the character. Make sure Skitterwath applies Scorch. It gives you a ton of trap and mind throw speed, which is a really big multiplier for the character. It gives mana reservation, which helps a lot. And it also makes your Skitterwaths more effective. Like it makes the shock, the chill, the scorch all much, much higher. It does have a downside, which makes the Skitterwaths apply to you as well. In the case of this character, though, the downside is pretty much negated through Pyromaniac. Become immune to shock. Scorch, you just overcap your res a little bit. And chill was very interesting. You could either run Winter's Weave and have easy access to reverse chill. This setup was pretty good. A lot of people told me this was a little inconsistent. Sometimes you run out of range to your Skitterwatts. But I mean, it's just a bunch of action speed when you are next to your Skitterwatts. And whenever you're fighting a boss, you'll be next to your Skitterwatts as well. So this is a very nice setup if you want to become immune to chill and make your chill into action speed instead. Very easy setup. I personally didn't really mess around with it too much because I wanted my minus mana cost rings and I wanted the mid endurance charge. If you don't go for that and you want to go for like boots, or you want to go for like the double minus mana costs and the endurance charges, there is a boot mod which gives you immune to chill. It's a prefix and it's a prefix move speed, so you can get the build mod. So the Skitterwaths essentially have no downside with the belt, but they're just way stronger. So the belt is very good, basically. Hopefully it's not much rarer this league. Sometimes the GGG will make a lot of the unique items way rarer next league afterwards. I don't think this belt will be like that. Most likely it'll be pretty common still, I imagine, just because I don't think it was used that much last league, so it might be a little bit under the radar. Very strong for this build though, should be pretty cheap. The new assassin. New assassin has a very interesting node that makes your base spell crit equal to your main hand weapon, which is essentially Sandstorm Visage, which I was actually using on the character. Now, this is an insane amount of damage. You can see my crit chance goes from 40 to 100 with Sandstorm. That's because I was running a crit chance weapon, and it makes the base crit from 5% on Rolling Magma all the way up to like 14%. This is going to be a Forbidden Flush from Flame that you can steal, so that might be very, very strong, like super endgame, and you can run like an actual helmet instead. Like a suppression, reservation, fist against LA type of helmet. Big opportunity cost to run Sandstorm, and it's actually kind of annoying to get sometimes, so very nice that you have the option to go Forbidden Flush and Forbidden Flame. Nice little buff if you go that route. Bloodlines. So there is actually quite a few interesting Bloodlines. The main ones I was interested looking at them for this character would be Schizophrenic from Delirium. This gives you 40% less damage taken from hits, and 40% of the damage is applied over 4 seconds. Basically, it's Progenesis onto like an ascendancy node. It has the big downside of clusters being the only jewels that work, though. Now, that sounds pretty bad, but clusters are actually really good in this character, because, I mean, Drill Tactics is insane, Surprise Sabotage is insane. There's another one that's really good, too. It's like Mine Detonation Seed or something. But basically, there's really good medium clusters, and the large clusters aren't bad either. So you could end up just running double cluster and run for Schizophrenic. The character doesn't even have any like unique jewels on it, so it's not even like that big of a downside. And on top of that, it would also pair really well with Pyromaniac. You'd get a bunch of recovery from Pyromaniac, so the damage taken over 4 seconds would be mitigated quite a bit by that. And yeah, the main weakness of the character was defenses, so massive damage already. And to be honest with you, the last point was kind of whatever. Like, Bomb Specialist is okay on paper. It's like 20% more or whatever, 15% more damage, and has like the less area chance to take the area damage or whatever, which is kind of whatever. So yeah, I mean, overall, that's a massive buff for the character. Getting Schizophrenic. We'll have to see if it can actually be usable. Like, unique jewels can be usable in these slots here. People were 50-50 on that. To be honest with you, though, this character doesn't really get punished too much by that either way. This is honestly like a really good example of a character that doesn't really need unique jewels too much. Obviously, unique jewels are going to be really good if you want that Forbidden Flush, Forbidden Flame. We could always just keep using Sandstorm and go for that. A couple other interesting things. There is a lot of ward stuff on Oroth that might be pretty good if you want to run like some ward hybrid stuff. I was mostly interested in the defensive options because this character, like I said, has insane damage already without even like super crazy gear. I mean, I guess the gear is pretty good, but nothing too insane, right? Like no Mage Blood or anything, and it's like 30 million DPS. I think it was actually higher in my build. I think I had like up to 50 million DPS on my actual character. This was just a POB that had like all the different setups on it. This POB is completely up to date, by the way. Nothing really changed, other than we are losing the Mercenaries, obviously. One thing I did want to talk about, though, is I had Kongming's Stratagem in the POB before. I would actually recommend skipping this entirely. It's very good on paper, and it is really good against bosses. Especially like Eater of Worlds and like Uber, stuff like that. I ended up thinking that it wasn't worth it though. I think Evasion Shield ended up being a little bit better. Like Evasion Hybrid Shield with the Evasion Mastery on like Revenge of the Hunted. Just having like more evasion made the character feel better. And I think that route is just overall gonna be the way to go instead of Kongming's. It'll make the character feel better. You'll like on paper you'll be like less max hit, but the character just feels way tankier when you have more evasion. That's everything I want to talk about. Like I said, this POB has a lot of notes from last league, and everything is pretty much relevant. The only thing different is Mercenaries are gone. Might be a bit squishy early on because it comes winding. And yep, everything I want to talk about. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time.